when this thing hits the 3rd tick and you see the knockback AoE, I want to be in the sand, which I didn't do correctly. Stone 41+. A couple notes to this floor set. It's going to change environments. You have been in the palace and the church, whatever the lore was mentioning. Now you're going to be in the desert. Specifically, Amarang is kind of where they're representing it. The maps will feel very big. One of the complaints, if you want to call it a complaint, or tricky difficulty parts of it, is that the maps are really big. And also, as such, with this deep dungeon, the higher and higher the floors get, the more the enemies do scale a little bit harder. I definitely will say this floor set is kind of the final floor set where without steel, you can still survive an AoE, like just barely. And you should not really be getting hit with AoEs, mind you. And there's going to be a couple enemies that we will point out, and we'll definitely point out more and more enemies as we go through the floor, as they will get a little trickier, dicier, and more concerning as we go through. So let's hop on into 41. Let's begin. 41+. Using some food to re-up the food. Hoping for some incense is coming in. Where is the silver chest? Alright. So, per habit, I will, nice opening. I will usually like to open with a strength and a haste here to keep it at 2. That is something that you'll see me commonly do, and maybe something I want to convince you to kind of do as a little habit here. Lizards here are going to do some pretty standard abilities here. We're going to be doing Fireball, which is just an AoE around me. Okay, now the Anaconda is going to do one move where its very first move is that it's going to give itself a buff that then makes the next move a poison, Dripping Fang. Now, as a melee, you're probably just going to drop it before it even becomes a concern. But Dripping Fang gives you a little poison DOT that can be removed, and that's where Purification could be useful. But that poison is not really that big of a deal. These Mantises, I believe, are sound. You're not on their site. Control these guys. Point blank AoE right over there. Strength. Okay. And we picked up the strength right away. So we got the value of our strength already from the very beginning. As we move on through these floors. Now we have over there the termites, the ones that are the patrol. Definitely a little bit concerning. On a melee, you're probably not going to be too worried about them because you'll drop them really quickly. But they basically have 2 moves. They have a conal in front of them. And then they do haste themselves, and that could be a little concerning, especially like on a gloom floor or like an HP down floor. So let me go over here first. Okay, there's acid spray, and the haste will come out at a lower HP. So once it gets low HP, it'll start to then haste itself, and again, it's going to start to do things faster. So let me just wait to see if that comes out here. Oh, that's a really low HP. Or it's on a timer. Actually, I think it's on a timer, not low HP. A lot of these enemies are low HP stuff. There's the haste. There you go. The haste came out. Let me get the thing. And again, as a melee DPS, you can see I was just basically like making it use the thing. But you're probably gonna kill it before that becomes a concern. This floor set was just a straight line down. 5 rooms. I like it when it's nice and easy. The forking of the maps can get a little annoying to navigate for sure. When you open with strength and steel, how do you handle situations where you aren't getting any more? Or what other techniques do you use to make up lost time when they expire? So, specifically with a steel, I'm usually not going to open with a steel unless I feel like the situation needs it. So steel to me, especially as a melee, it would be more situational. So I wouldn't really open with a steel in PT. I would probably be, you'd probably find me using a steel on maybe the boss if I'm progressing the boss. Or if I get into a gloom floor and the enemies are like, there's a lot that I have to get through. That's probably where you like see me use the steel. Now, in terms of the respect for the strength is more about, I guess you could say statistics and also getting the most out of it. Because the strength is a very common Pomander to get to. Now, presumably, you're getting to all the chests that are available, and therefore, you probably will pick up multiple strengths. And using the strength early is more about getting the most out of the 8 minutes than anything. Whirling Rage, by the way, is an AoE around it, and that is a stun. So if you get hit with that, you're getting stunned for a reasonable amount of time, so be careful with that. It also has another move called Smite of Rage, which is going to be a frontal line AoE, a short frontal line AoE. Let's see if I can force it out here. No, doesn't want to cooperate. Some of these enemies, by the way, are going to do different types of AoEs kind of in random order, so it's not going to be as predictable, which in my opinion, I like that a lot. This is also a very classic enemy from Final Fantasy XI. When I first saw these, I'm like, oh, I know what these guys do already. Okay, you have another move. You know what? I'm just gonna kill this for now, and we'll find another one, because this does not want to cooperate. But the whirling range you definitely want to avoid, and that's a little bit of that gacha AoE, where it will use it a little later, and its second move, Smite of Rage, will also do the same thing, where it will be like a little bit of a delayed AoE thing. So it's definitely one of those things where you want to have like a knowledge is power situation, because if you're kind of like, I don't know what to do, you just get hit with it. So Circle AoE, Whirl of Range, and then Whirl of Rage, and then Line AoE, Smite of Rage. So here I'm going to give this thing a chance to use something. There is Smite of Rage, look at the AoE from here. Boom, just there you go. So that's the two moves that it has for that one. And then now we just delete it. Kind of talked about everything at the moment, so we'll just go through and kill the floors. I hope you like the desert floors. It is definitely a much different looking deep dungeon from the previous 30, 40 floors that we had encountered earlier. Navigating through these rooms to get to all the chests. Again, I would really like to get another raising here. I would really like to get another incense as well, because we did not pick up a single one in the 31 set. Luckily, the boss coming up also is a boss that we are going to be fine without an incense. And I would only use one for demonstration purposes anyway. Whirl of Rage coming out. Okay, we are nicely out of here, but I will check that other room that's to the north and then go to the exit. I do want to check that chest. There's a landmine. 41 to... This floor set, 41 floor set, is actually known to be very common for landmines. Although as a melee, you're probably not going to really take advantage of them as much as some other class. But landmines are definitely going to be the trap that you may run into if you are not hugging the walls. And hugging the walls is definitely going to be important. And I would say more times than not, you will avoid, I would say 99% of the traps by hugging all the walls, especially in this floor set. Unlike the cave floors, if you're familiar with that, with Palace of the Dead and EO, where sometimes even if you're hugging walls, you might skip a trap, I would say hugging the walls here, you're probably not going to hit one at all. Even with all the funky configurations with the map and stuff. No items, which is fine. We still have strength and haste on. So I'm gonna try to pull something now. I have another steel. I'll definitely delete this very quickly with this steel on. I might actually pull a strength on. I might pull the I'm gonna stun that one. The weapon right now while I still have my strength on, only because it might wear off by the time I get to the next enemy. Termite here. Might pull this one right away. Yeah, I'll pull it because I have to do some navigation and my strength is indeed falling off now. Okay, let's go. We will definitely see some new enemy sets stepping into 44, but everything's pretty calm and comfy. I would say this is a really nice kind of warm-up floor to get through, because the enemies are not overly difficult. Historically, 41 in Deep Dungeon, well, for Heaven on High, EO, and for now PT, they're a little chill. The enemies don't kind of ramp up too much. There's still something to worry about, like, you don't want to, like, you know, they're not pushovers. But in terms of, like, them dying and how fast they die and their HPs, it feels pretty respectable. So I definitely like this as, like, a nice warm-up floor before you hit the 51. The exit I already saw, by the way. I don't know if you visually saw it while we were going through, but I already saw the exit to the north behind me. So I'm now going this way. Sometimes you can see the orb kind of from afar, especially with the draw distance. Like here, I can see all the way to that weapon that just spawned in front of me. So sometimes you might be able to see the animation or the asset for the exit from afar, and you can determine where you need to go. And that little bit can also be such a good time save for navigation. Like since I already recognize where that exit is, I want to go away from it so I can check everything up to here and then swing back to the exit instead of having to go up there and then go back south and then, you know, navigate. So stuff like that is really important too when time is starting to become an issue. I would like to suspect that for melee, you're probably going to have more of an issue of survival than necessarily time. But if time is a problem that you're having, those are the kind of the little optimization things you can do to kind of help you speed up a little bit. And a lot of these little things can add up. I mean, think about it. If you save yourself like, you know, 2 or 3 seconds on little tiny things like a couple times per floor, that can add up to a couple minutes off your run. So that's why, you know, getting to the habit of these nice little details is usually a really good thing to learn. Alright, going through, now we have new music and new... Now here's gonna be one that, I will do this for science, guys, okay? I will do this for science. This frog, this turtle is really mean for melee. It is a very slow-moving enemy, and you want to be very careful about this one. This guy is just one of the melee killers, and I'll show you why, okay? So watch, it's moving really slow. Very slow. It's like, oh, it's not too bad. It has a really long cast with Tortoise Stomp. When it does the cast eventually. So Tortoise Stomp, by the way, this one does extraordinarily more damage than every AoE. If all the AoEs here can almost kill you, this one certainly kills you. Now, what's special about this guy, or not special about this guy, I will sacrifice 2 steals to make this work. So, I'm gonna pop a steal here. If he hits me with steal on, watch my steal. Bye-bye, it's gone. Now, also, with this vulnerability up, specifically the vulnerability from this turtle, if I re-steal right now, no effect because, well, that vulnerability is just that strong. So you want to be very careful with these things as a melee. My recommendation here is that you will try to go and engage this thing when it's doing that Tortoise Stomp because it is a very long cast. You can be spicy trying to run in and go whatever it is, but I just recommend being very careful. If you can help it, you probably want to avoid it altogether. Now, the problem with this turtle is that it does seem like it has a little bit of an extraordinarily long aggro range, more than you used to. Like, if you've picked up kind of the aggro range from the enemies already up to this point... Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna... I'm gonna back up. If you, like, had a good gauge of, like, oh, yeah, I can be this far away from this enemy before it aggroes, this one, for whatever reason, is, like, 2 times the size. So, you want to be very careful of these turtles here. So that is the one special one that certainly I needed to mention, because if you didn't know about that, you'll be like, oh, it's just a turtle. And then you all of a sudden realize you're just, like, perishing, and it's like, oh, what's happening? Well, man, it's because the turtle. We got that poison off from the anaconda because I didn't kill it fast enough. And we will pull that dino, the bird in a second here. Let me just kill this anaconda here. The bird will do a line AoE coming up here. It is a patrol side aggro. There's Ethereal Blast over there. Okay, I'm gonna drag it around. I believe it does one more AoE, so I'm gonna see if I can force it out. There's a whip crack. I don't think this one does the circle AoE, but I'm gonna drag it around for me with a little bit. Also, I'm gonna check this chest coming up here. Also, I had that witching earlier. I could have witching the turtle, just as a note. But we will hold serve for now. Alright, this one doesn't do a circle AoE, but that's okay. Again, easier enemy here. There's the turtle once more. It is the new patrol here, is that one that I'm pulling right now. Turtle's blocking that thing. Turtle is sight, by the way. So I can stand next to it okay, but if it turns around, it can get a little spicy. So we got one of our steals back, which is nice. Okay, see this aggro? This, I would almost guess this probably does aggro. Yeah. Yeah, that's the turtle for you, man. Like, any other enemy would not have aggro. This one in particular, it's gonna aggro. So I'm gonna kind of vibe here. Wait for it to do Tortoise Stomp. And make sure I don't miss the AoE, because that'll be really bad, because again, that will one-shot me. I think even with Steel on, it probably kills me if I get hit with that AoE. Alright, exit is open. The turtle, definitely one to note for your runs on 41+. Smite of Rage. Okay. Actually, now that we're on the 4th floor again, I mentioned earlier, the bronze chests 1 to 3, the 1st and 3rd floor, do not give you any glasses, but now they do. So it's definitely going to be worth getting these bronze chests, and there you go, there's a double glass right there. So that's really good if you're farming them for items or for your potsherds. I think we didn't get any double glasses in 31 plus, but I believe you can still get there. But especially the higher and higher you go, those double drops will be more common. So in these 4 sets, you'd certainly want to go out of your way for those bronze chests because of that extra bonus here. Again, these are sites here, so I can kind of go around the side here to avoid that aggro. If any of these were turtle, I think I would aggro them, but luckily they are not. 2 potions, so we got 4 glasses, boom, right away. More turtles and HP down, which is great. Got my strength back though. That's good. Okay, we have a new enemy here coming in. It is the Pincerbeak. This one may not cooperate with his AoE, so we'll see. It does have 2 AoEs, but sometimes, depending on its mood, it'll use one or the other. Ah, there's actually the harder one, Tail Smash. That's a gigantic point blank, but let me tell you, even if you're close to this enemy, it sometimes will not use that. It is kind of one of those random AoE kind of enemies here. Because it just kind of it just kind of decides which one it wants to use. It does have an AoE that it uses 3 times, which is called Fireball. So we'll try to pull another one so you can see that one. And there's a bird coming in, but I gotta deal with this one first. Watching the timer here. Okay, good. Let's kill this one. Alright, let's check the other rooms. And we got another patrol coming in, so we'll probably just delete that one first, too. Getting the silver chest here first. Hopefully we don't aggro the turtle if it turns. We got a lot of turtles to deal with, apparently. A lot of chests, too. Hopefully we finally get an incense showing up. Oh, still none. Serenity. I will use that Serenity for the HP down to get rid of it. Don't really need it too much, but it's not a bad thing to do, especially because it's the extra. Gonna check the last room to the south, see if there's anything there, and then we will proceed to the exit and get that silver chest over there. There's another bird, so I'll pull it right now. We're not out of this floor yet, so we still need to get some kills in. Okay, let's pull another Pincerbeak to see if it does Fireball. So at least you get to see what that AoE looks like. There we go. So Fireball fires 3 times. So it's like it's consistently 3. So that's 2, and then the third one will come in. So I can kind of bait this AoE a little bit to kind of get some melee uptime here. There you go. And then it'll stop using it. Again, the point blank is kind of random. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. So these are the ones that you just have to pay like a little attention to. They're not overly deadly. Like even if you get caught in the middle of that point blank, you certainly have time to run away from it. I will use the affluence here to keep it at 2, because like I said, if we can get more raising, that would be really nice. So that's one strategy that can come into play, keeping certain Pomanders at 2. My reasoning for affluence is because I could still use some things, and we've only seen 1 devotion so far on this run as well. Off to the next 4, let's go. Just going through at a really moderate pace here with just single killing floors here, single killing enemies, and our pacing is actually really good. Really wouldn't be too concerned about time, especially with this type of pacing. I mean, if anything, the only way you lose time is probably if you're like, you know, running back and forth a lot. So the navigation is pretty important. Kind of what Slow Dancer mentioned in chat earlier. Desert floor is a massive backtrack, it can take so much time, and that's really true. I mean, having to run back and forth, you will lose time doing it, so one thing to try to avoid doing it as much as you can, but that just kind of comes down to a little bit of experience. Kind of understanding, kind of, you know, what the rooms kind of typically look like and everything, and where you can kind of get away with the movement, so on and so forth. Okay, we can do that. I'll witching the turtle just to showcase the interaction. We can drop these enemies here. Gonna get the third one over there. Yeah, just for fun, these will showcase the witching of the turtle. It should still be moving at a really low, slow pacing here. Oh, nice, it's an imp too. Love that for me. So there we go, it's moving slow. But it doesn't give me the vulnerability, so that's kind of nice. I think I overkilled it. Okay, the Tiffin here will do an interesting move. Creeping combination. When I first did this, I read it right away. Combination, so it does 2 attacks. It does the front conal, and then it does the back conal. So it'll follow up back to back like that, so be careful with that one. The Pet Refugee is interesting, because it'll do a pull-in sometimes. So this is Magnetic Shock. It'll do a pull-in from this, followed by a point-blank Plane Cracker. Now, what's interesting about this one, I'll showcase it in the next pull. So it'll always do that follow-up, right? Magnetic Shock into that point-blank, so you gotta be ready for it. If you have a floor that is no knockback, that's something that's worth noting, because then you don't have to get pulled in. So watch this one. This one is gonna do it as well. And actually make sure I don't kill it by accident. Okay, so it's gonna do it, right? So we can stun this enemy. I'm gonna stun it. Pop, we stunned it. Great, cool. When it gets another chance, it's gonna try to do Plane Cracker again, so it does commit to that move, so just be careful with stunning, that you're not actually saving yourself per se, you're just delaying the inevitable. And not all enemies do that. There are some enemies that will, once you stun it, it's kind of like out of that commitment, but that one in particular is committed to that attack. And again, just to kind of remind, these AoEs on this floor set are gonna get close to killing you. So as we kind of go up and up and up in terms of the floors, the AoEs will become more and more deadly as a DPS. So you're gonna want to be careful with these AoEs, you know, and you definitely on this floor set want to certainly get used to not getting hit with them. I'm going to backtrack, though, here, because I want to check the room that I did not check here. And this was kind of just mentioned about the backtracking, but I didn't check the room. I kind of just you can call it lucky or unlucky. I found the exit right away, so... Next one, we're definitely going to get a couple more. It looks like there's 2 rooms, and I can tell. From here, I can see an opening directly in front of me, so I can tell that there's at least 2 more rooms, if not more, and there is actually more than 2 rooms. Lots of dinos. I'm going to take this pincer beak with me. I'm going to pull it back a little further so I can avoid the turtle. Now, the problem with this fireball move is that it is committed to this fireball, so it's going to use it 3 times and use it from afar, so it's a little annoying. So I'm just going to drag it around with me, because I'm not going to be able to get close unless I dash into it. Actually, now in like a really less than optimal position at the moment. And it's doing more of them. Because I think it's onto another cycle here, so it's gonna do... I just did... Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it canceled it out. Okay. Checking the last room that's over to the west side to see what's over there. Again, watching these angry turtles, which haven't moved, I think. I think the turtle over there is still looking at the chest, so I don't know if I can get there unless I kill the turtle. 2 chests over here. This was an affluence 4, so getting these chests is really good because I did get a lot of extra chests on this particular floor to pick stuff up. Got that witching back. 2 purifications that are on the ground at the moment. So now we're going to take our long, slow walk over to the exit. I would almost guarantee that this turtle actually aggroes me going for that chest. This one will totally aggro me too, so I want to be a little careful here. I'm actually going to pull it first, because if I walk past it, it might clip me. So I'm going to wait for it to then do its sword stomp here. Okay, here we go. Gonna be careful with that movement through, because it's gonna do the AoE. I thought I was close enough for Madari, but apparently I wasn't. Safety... I'll leave it alone. I think I might just NP it to death at the moment. Actually, I didn't have a Madari, because I had a Mechio. No big deal. Alright, let's go to the exit. So this floor in particular is a decent example of that backtracking of how long we took to just get through this one singular floor. And these are the things that sometimes that can definitely kind of hurt time. Especially if you kind of forget to go to one area, or like you're like, oh, I forgot to get this chest. It kind of costs you a lot of time. So I would say a lot of the time-saving situations here, with especially the desert area, is more about just being optimal through movement. Not so much the killing of the enemies, not so much the Pomander usage, but really the navigation of the maps. Another flight, but I already have one up, so it's okay. Okay, here we go. We got the Mimic, but I can still stun them, so that's okay. I think I would have killed it before the thing, but it's okay. No need to risk getting a pox there. We have a new enemy, the Germanant. This one, not too crazy. It just does a pretty large cone in front of it, but pretty easy to dodge here. I would say this is more kind of a party mechanic situation than anything. It's kind of a counter argument to keeping things at 2, because at 3 on everything you can just leave. You could, that's true. And especially more so, like that's not a terrible justification, because especially when you're not necessarily concerned on time and you can kind of conserve Pomanders here because you're not really needing Pomanders to help you out to get faster. That could be a thought process where, you know, you're just going for the clear, you just want to get out of here. You just go. You can just skip the room. Very fair. That flight, by the way, we did 2 kills. Oh, actually we did 3 kills, sorry. 3 kills and we're off the floor. Minimum 4 kills on most floors if it wasn't flighted, so we got off in 3, so that's a little bit more on the minimum. Let me backtrack here, because I actually didn't see that there was an opening to the north side of the spawn room. Here's the Triffid again, which walked past me at some point. It is sights. Korgans. I do have 1 Korgan, I will pull it. Actually 2. These Korgans, by the way, do an AoE stun if you get near them. Very minimal damage. It did 14 damage to me. So in case you get surprised by that. Usually people kill them from afar, but that's one way to just deal with them. And that would have contributed to the exit, but no big deal. So yeah, we're just gonna navigate here to the exit. The upcoming boss is certainly gonna be interesting. I have not picked up an incense, so this is a pretty unlucky run, but like I said, it's actually a good thing if it's unlucky, because it's good for you guys. We'll definitely fight the boss straight up without any type of incense, because I do want to hold on to the one I have. I think I would have done it anyway, since it is going to be a little bit of faster boss. I almost stepped on that trap. Hitting that site. We got 2 more rooms, so that site's actually really useful. You can see the kind of the navigation to go back and up just to find things. So it does make it a little tricky in this specific floor type set here with the desert area. The maps are pretty atrocious in terms of that. We do have a new enemy here, so I will pull the Agave. Agave will do, I believe, just a point blank. A little sizable point blank too. Let's wait for it to do it. There you go. Serrated spin. I believe it also has a an ability called Tornado. Tornado is a targeted AoE, which can be interrupted. I'm gonna see if I can force it out here. And again, this is one of those enemies that will just do things when it decides to. There's the Tornado. Pretty quickly, too. Stunnable, though, so you can kind of stun it if you want to. I don't believe it's going to be an enemy where, like, it'll do it because you're far or close, etc. Just do it, so just note on that one. Going into the next floor with nothing, our palms are starting to fill out here. The only thing, again, we're missing is Devotion and Raising. Those are the only 2 that we're missing. If the game wants intuition, it's a lot of intuition. Okay. I believe we've now seen everything. I'll just use the intuition. So now it's just getting prepped into the floor. Here, like I said, this floor set is a really good floor set to kind of get yourself warmed up, kind of some of the community likes to call it. Oh, I actually almost forgot about that move. Some of the community likes to call it a recovery set, and that's definitely what I would call it. It's like a recovery. So if you had used your palms like a lot before, or you're still kind of struggling to get some, this is really good because like it's pretty chill. Like we're about to hit the boss with about 30 minutes remaining, and we were yapping, talking about a lot of things. Almost missing AoEs here because of the double hit here. So it's been pretty chill up till now. So even though, like, habitually I will still be aggressive with my Pomanders using that strength at the beginning of the 4 set, you definitely don't have to. It's not necessary. Like I said, it's a habit that I have formed that I do like a lot, trying to get myself ahead on time. Let's take out this Trifid. And we got a very interesting boss coming up once we get to floor 50. It's actually the boss that caused me one of my first deaths. Actually, my second death when I was progging PT. The mechanics are very interesting. It took me a little bit to quite understand it completely. So we'll definitely go over every bit of it once we reach that boss and kind of the good strategy that I can pose with it too. And it's a little bit annoying on melee, I would say. I would say the melee uptime can get a little annoying on that fight, but that's okay. We have one more enemy here that we have not pulled. The Antilian, which actually is the baby version of the boss that we'll be fighting. This one is interesting. It will do a forward attack here, but it will go forward and back. The actual move is called 1-2 March. So it definitely indicates that it's going to do 2 attacks, so there you go. And what's interesting about this move is that it is a line AoE. And we've mentioned earlier that all line AoEs do go through a wall. So for whatever reason, if this thing is positioned around a wall, and then you kind of see that AoE, it'll like run into the wall, but it still does damage through the wall. So you don't want to kind of avoid this thing using a wall. You just want to step to the side to avoid that attack. But it is a double line AoE where it goes one direction, turns back around, and then hits you again. So watch out for that one. And a lot of the moves also, the names of the actual moves kind of give you a small indication of what it might do. And when I was progging, once I read the name 1-2 March, I just assumed that it was 2. Just like the previous one with the creepy combination. Combination indicates 2, so that we kind of went like one and then the other one. So kind of use that as anticipation, but at least you visually saw it as well if you're going in for your own run. But again, as melee, you might drop them before they even kind of get to those moves, so kind of no big deal there. Alright, let's still hoping for an incense to show up. Still not getting an incense to show up. Which is okay. So 1-2 March, gonna get over to the side here to let it do its thing. Oh, convenient. I didn't hit the other one. That's an unfortunate landmine there. That's me not hugging the wall there because I stepped out into the room. So that's your example of why you need to hug the walls as best you can. Yeah, it will. It will mime. It will still hit you if you're kind of around that wall. It'll bonk itself on the wall, but it'll still hit you through the wall. Yep. Oh, I hit that by accident. Oh well. Still no incense. Incredible. That's alright. This will make for an interesting run for sure as we go deeper and deeper into the 4 set. So there you go. This one first started with a point blank. Now it's starting with the tornado. So it definitely does what it wants. And as I said, that's kind of the mood for some of the PT enemies. You do want to kind of watch out for that. That you don't want to run through an assumption that it will do something. Sometimes they kind of trick you. Yes, that's true. It actually did that on the previous attack with Load said. Is that if it gets a shortened distance on the first hit and it bonks into the wall, the second one actually goes a little bit further because it has to cover the full distance. That's very true. So really the solution for that is just get on the side. Like don't even bother trying to be fancy with it. Just be on the side and you'll be okay. Haste... Okay. We'll use that right away. So I was mentioning on the previous floor set, I believe, if you get kind of buffs on the 9th floor to kind of hold on to him until you open the exit, until you're ready to about to leave. But here's the unique situation. We are going to the exit right now. So we are traveling to the exit, and thus, by the time we get there, we don't have to run back anymore, so... I think here's a good example of it, I think doing a little extra distancing. No, I kind of hit the wall normally. Still no incense. Incredible. Alright. You know, we'll do the boss without a strength. I will steal though, just for safety. We will steal. But we will actually hold on to the strength. Alright, so you're gonna see a giant Antillion. Very scary, very spooky. I'm not gonna lie, there's actually two things that's interesting with this boss. One, people who have a little arachnophobia kind of get a little fearful for this boss, that's fair. Number two, the animations can get a little disorienting, and I've heard that from people too. But this is a very unique fight. I want you to observe the arena for now. We have these little islands here, and these islands are your safe spots, because the rest of this arena will not be safe. And you will be getting a debuff, and it'll look like quicksand, because it literally is quicksand. And imagine quicksand IRL, right? If you're in quicksand too long, you'll fall into the sand and die, and that's essentially what this mechanic will be doing. If you're in the quicksand for longer than 4 seconds, you will instantly die. You're dead. It doesn't matter if you have your tank, whatever it is, you're gone. So you have to make sure that you're on these islands and hopping between these islands. Typically speaking, going from like clockwise or counterclockwise, you'll be okay and you'll have more than enough time. But there also is a mechanic where we have to actually step into the quicksand, and we'll showcase to you because we will see all of those mechanics with this long fight. And doing this in a match party, this is another situation where you may only see this mechanic like once or twice, and then it's kind of whatever, because you might kill it really fast. In this type of fight, you're going to see this fight a lot longer, and you're going to run through a lot of rotations for this fight. First mechanic here is that a lot of circle AoEs are going to hop to the ground. It is very random, as you can tell. Next mechanic here is that it's going to dive into the ground. Here we're going to kind of get away from it. From this position, after the AoE goes out, I can go to the 4th island. So that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. I'm going to be safe in this position. Kind of really hard to kind of get melee uptime here, but you know, whatever. So here we're moving in, we're going to do a continue attacking, avoid these AoEs. They're going to hop into the sand just for a little bit. And here we go. We're going to see the second mechanic coming up. And this might jump, which it did, but it jumped in a different direction. You're going to see Wind Razor. Now, I want you guys to observe the debuff that I get when I go into the sand. It will literally say, like, Windbreaker or something like that. When this thing hits the 3rd tick and you see the knockback AoE, I want to be in the sand, which I didn't do correctly. Which we did a little too late. Good, that's the example of what happens when you do it wrong. But we need to be in the sand when that thing is about to tick down, and then we do not take that mechanic. Gonna hold up here. Oh, okay. Alright, gonna wait for the AoE to come out. Healing myself here because we took quite a bit of damage on that one. Going to the 4th one over here. Watch the thing. On the 2 tick, right when it hits 2, we will go into the sand. 1, 2, going into the sand now. We get Breaker of Wind. That is literally the debuff over there. Alright, and now we rinse and repeat. Now you've seen everything of this thing. You even saw me do it incorrectly, so now you know what it looks like when you did it incorrectly, so you don't have to do it. This thing's gonna hop in a second. Probably to the other side of the arena, usually. Hopping in. And this is a rinse and repeat from here on out. Again, be very careful about you not standing into the quicksand for too long. With the animations, too, it can make it a little bit difficult if you have a lot of animations on, like I do, so just be careful with that. Once it hops out, by the way, for the first time, you can't target this thing. But doing melee uptime is a little bit tricky, of course. Okay, this is rinse and repeat. We're going in. It's gonna hop out soon to the opposite side of the arena. We're gonna follow very soon. There it is. Again, watching our feet here. Gonna have to move to the next island for now. Going back to that island here. Alright. Rinse and repeat. Drop the AoE first. Once it comes back up, we can start doing some attacks here. Watching that thing going to 2, and then we hop back into the middle. Again, the longer and longer you see the fight, the better it is for you guys. I didn't do that correctly again, which is great because I went too early. But it's okay. When that happens, you know what we do? We do Bloodbath. I went like really early on that one. But the more you see this, hopefully it gives you a good impression of how this fight's supposed to be. Dashing in. Okay, just moving out this way. Okay, here's the AoE drop. Moving out here. Going to the 4th island here. 1, 2, going in, holding here, waiting for the mechanic, and then going in. There you go. This is without strength, by the way, so this is why this is taking like a good amount of time right now. But like I said, the more you see the fight, the better. This one doesn't really have a variation, unlike some of the other bosses that we will encounter in the near future. Okay, just waiting now for the boss to come back up. One, two, into the sand we go. Almost down, and 50 boss complete. At least you saw what it even looks like when we take the damage. That's why steel is not a terrible idea, especially for the bosses in particular, if you're still kind of progging them, since sometimes things get a little dicey. But that is 41 to 50. Pretty good on that run.